Hello everyone and welcome to Birkenwasser Knits tutorial on how to work a wrong side or purl side Vikkel braid. This tutorial goes with my alignment sweater pattern, and you can see the beginning of an alignment sweater here. So this is the back shoulders, and here are the front shoulders, or actually just the left shoulder, and I'm about to start working on the right front shoulder. And there's a Vikkel braid on top of each shoulder, and for the left shoulder it can be worked on right side as it goes in this direction, but for the right shoulder you need to work on the purl side as you want the braid to go that way. So we will attach the yarn and begin working on the shoulder, and first we'll need to add one stitch for the Vikkel braid. So we do a knit front and back, and the last one is our Vikkel braid stitch, and we'll move that one on cable needle, and it's gonna go behind the work under the working yarn like that. And then we'll purl the next stitch. Just try to keep the tension, and then move the cable needle from under the working yarn and purl the stitch from the cable needle. So that's your Vikkel braid stitch, and you'll move that back on the cable needle, and you have to move it around your working yarn or put it underneath, so you're ready to work the next stitch on your left hand needle, and then take the cable needle from under your working yarn and purl the stitch on the cable needle, and put it back on the cable needle, and now move it from around your working yarn. So your Vikkel braid stitch travels around your working yarn, and it's your next purl stitch. Oops, I just need to slip the yarn. And you move the stitch on the cable needle, and purl next stitch. And purl the stitch on the cable needle and put it back on the cable needle. And you have worked 5 stitches, so next you will wrap the following stitch and turn your work. And you have the Vikkel braid stitch on the cable needle, and you can see the first 5 Vikkel braid stitches. And for the next row you will knit some extra sound effects from the street, but we are also working short rows to shape the shoulder at the same time, so that's why we're only working 5 Vikkel braid stitches at a time. So now we'll purl to the wrap stitch and continue from there. So we'll purl the wrap stitch and work the stitch on the cable needle, So we'll just make sure it's not twisted. So purl the stitch on the cable needle and put it back on the cable needle. Take working yarn from underneath, purl next stitch, and purl the stitch on the cable needle and put it back on the cable needle. Purl next stitch. And what you can also do, instead of working the stitch from the cable needle, is that you can move the stitch back on your left needle and purl from there, and then put it on the right needle. On the cable needle, and then purl next stitch. But this is the way to get the Vikkel braid also on the left shoulder, or is it the right shoulder? The right shoulder.